In the frigid lands of northern Europe during the High Middle Ages, spanning from the 12th to the 15th centuries, the Baltic region became the stage for one of medieval history's most remarkable military religious orders. Picture yourself in the dense Baltic forests, where the icy air carries the scent of pine and snow, and mighty stone castles rise against the gray sky, their black and white banners waving in the wind, while warrior monks train with swords and spears in fortified courtyards. The Baltic region during this period was a complex tapestry of competing powers and interests. The Holy Roman Empire, the most powerful entity in Central Europe, exercised significant influence over the region, providing both political support and a steady stream of German nobles and settlers. To the east, the Kingdom of Poland was emerging as a formidable force, its territories expanding and its influence growing under the Piast dynasty. The Grand Duchy of Lithuania, initially a pagan state that would later become Europe's last nation to accept Christianity, controlled vast territories from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. The indigenous Baltic peoples, including Prussians, Livonians, and Curonians, maintained their ancestral pagan beliefs and fiercely resisted Christian expansion. These tribes lived in scattered settlements throughout the dense forests and marshy landscapes, practicing their traditional ways of life and defending their territories through guerrilla warfare tactics. The geography of the region played a crucial role in shaping historical events. The Baltic Sea served as a vital trading route, connecting the wealthy Hanseatic cities. The landscape was characterized by dense forests, numerous rivers, and lakes, which posed significant challenges for military campaigns but also provided natural defensive positions. The harsh climate, with long, severe winters and short summers, greatly influenced military operations and settlement patterns. This period witnessed a significant transformation of the Baltic landscape. The Teutonic Knights established a network of fortified castles and monasteries, which served as administrative centers and military strongholds. These structures were strategically placed along rivers and trade routes, gradually transforming the wilderness into an organized medieval state. The construction of these fortifications represented not just military presence, but also the introduction of Western European architectural styles and urban planning to the region. The interaction between these various powers created a dynamic political and cultural environment. The Holy Roman Empire's influence brought German language, law, and customs to the region. Polish and Lithuanian influences contributed to a unique cultural fusion, while the resistant Baltic peoples maintained elements of their traditional culture despite increasing pressure to adopt Christianity and Western European customs. This complex historical and geographical context set the stage for the Teutonic Knights' mission of conversion and conquest, leading to centuries of warfare, cultural exchange, and territorial transformation that would permanently alter the face of Northern Europe. The Teutonic Order's history was shaped by remarkable individuals who left indelible marks on medieval Europe. At the forefront stands Hermann von Salza, the fourth Grand Master who served from 1210 to 1239. A skilled diplomat and visionary leader, von Salza transformed the order from a modest military religious organization into a formidable territorial power. His exceptional diplomatic abilities earned him the trust of both Emperor Frederick II and Pope Gregory IX, making him a crucial mediator between the two most powerful figures of his time. Under his leadership, the order acquired its first major territorial possessions and established its presence in Prussia, laying the foundation for what would become a powerful medieval state. Among the secondary figures who played pivotal roles, Duke Conrad of Masovia emerges as a crucial catalyst. In 1226, facing continuous raids from pagan Prussian tribes, Conrad made the fateful decision to invite the Teutonic Knights to defend his borders. This invitation, formalized in the Golden Bull of Rimini, would have far-reaching consequences, leading to the order's permanent establishment in the Baltic region. His decision, while solving his immediate problems, would later create significant challenges for his Polish successors. Pope Innocent III, who held the papacy from 1198 to 1216, provided crucial support for the order's mission. His papal bulls legitimized the order's activities and granted them extraordinary privileges. Under his patronage, the Teutonic Knights gained the authority to conduct crusades in the Baltic region, effectively extending the concept of holy war beyond the traditional Holy Land campaigns. Mindaugas, the first and only king of Lithuania, represents a fascinating figure in this historical narrative. Initially a fierce opponent of the order, he strategically converted to Christianity in 1251 and formed an alliance with the Knights. His coronation in 1253, supported by the order, marked Lithuania's brief entry into Western Christendom. However, his later return to paganism and shifting allegiances illustrate the complex political dynamics of the region. The order faced numerous antagonists, with the Prussian tribes being their primary opponents in the early period. These tribes, including the Sambians, Natangians, and Warmians, fiercely resisted both Christian conversion and territorial expansion. Their resistance led to decades of warfare and ultimately shaped the Order's military tactics and administrative practices. Alexander Nevsky emerged as a formidable opponent during the Order's expansion eastward. His decisive victory over the Teutonic Knights at the Battle of Lake Peipus in 1242, famously known as the Battle on the Ice, halted the Order's expansion into Russian territories. This battle became legendary, symbolizing the resistance against Western religious and political expansion into Orthodox Russian lands. These historical figures operated within a complex web of political, religious, and territorial ambitions. The interactions between them shaped not only the destiny of the Teutonic Order, but also the political and religious landscape of medieval Northern Europe. Their decisions and actions continue to influence regional politics and national identities in the Baltic states, Poland, and Germany to this day. The legacy of these key figures extends beyond their immediate historical context. Hermann von Salza's diplomatic achievements established a model for balancing religious and secular authority. The conflicts with figures like Alexander Nevsky helped define the cultural and religious boundaries between Western and Eastern Christianity that partially persist to this day. Their stories represent the complex interplay between personal ambition, religious conviction, and political necessity that characterized medieval European history. The Teutonic Order embodies one of medieval history's most intriguing paradoxes: the delicate balance between religious devotion and political power. This military religious order, initially founded to provide medical care and protect pilgrims in the Holy Land, gradually transformed into a sovereign state that wielded significant political and military power in Northern Europe. This evolution represents the central theme of their story: the thin line between faith and power, where religious conviction often served as both motivation and justification for territorial expansion. The primary conflict manifested in the complex relationship between Christianization and territorial domination. While the Order's stated mission was to convert pagan peoples to Christianity, their methods often prioritized military conquest over peaceful conversion. This approach raised questions about whether their true motivation was spiritual salvation or territorial acquisition. The Order's activities in Prussia and Livonia demonstrated how religious authority could be used to justify political expansion, leading to the creation of a unique hybrid entity, a theocratic state ruled by warrior monks. The transformation from a religious order into a military state occurred gradually but profoundly. As the knights acquired more territory, they developed sophisticated administrative systems, established cities, and engaged in international trade. This evolution sparked internal tensions between their original religious mission and their growing secular responsibilities. The Order's castles served as both monasteries and military fortresses, symbolizing this dual identity. The clash between Christian and pagan cultures formed a significant subplot in this historical drama. The Baltic peoples had their own complex religious systems, social structures, and ways of life that had evolved over centuries. The arrival of the Teutonic Knights represented not just a religious challenge but a fundamental threat to their entire cultural identity. The resistance of these pagan communities was not merely against Christianity as a religion, but against the complete transformation of their society that came with it. Religion played a crucial role in political expansion during this period. The Order's status as a papal-sanctioned institution gave them significant advantages. They could recruit Crusaders from across Europe, receive donations and support from Christian rulers, and claim divine authority for their actions. This religious legitimacy was a powerful tool in medieval politics, allowing the Order to build alliances and justify their conquests to the Christian world. The evolution of medieval warfare is clearly illustrated through the Order's military campaigns. Their battles combined traditional European heavy cavalry tactics with adaptations necessary for fighting in the forests and marshes of the Baltic region. They pioneered the use of large-scale castle building as a method of territorial control, developing sophisticated architectural and engineering techniques. The Order's military organization reflected a professional approach to warfare that was ahead of its time. The conflicts faced by the Teutonic Order were not limited to military confrontations. They also dealt with diplomatic challenges, managing relationships with powerful neighbors like Poland and Lithuania. The Order had to balance their religious mission with practical political considerations, often leading to complex alliances and agreements that sometimes seemed to contradict their spiritual purpose. Over time, these various conflicts contributed to significant changes in medieval European society. The Order's activities helped establish new patterns of settlement, trade, and cultural exchange in the Baltic region. Their presence accelerated the integration of Northern Europe into Western Christian civilization, though often at a terrible cost to indigenous cultures and peoples. The story of the Teutonic Order serves as a compelling case study of how religious institutions could evolve in response to political and military pressures, and how faith could be both a motivating force and a tool for expansion. Their experience raises enduring questions about the relationship between religious authority and political power, the legitimacy of forced conversion, and the ways in which institutions can be transformed by their own success. Life within the Teutonic Order was characterized by a strict hierarchical structure and rigorous daily routines that reflected both its military and religious nature. The Order's social organization was a carefully crafted system that combined monastic discipline with military efficiency, creating a unique way of life that set it apart from other medieval institutions. At the apex of the hierarchy stood the Knight brothers, who came exclusively from noble German families. These warrior monks formed the Order's elite corps, combining martial prowess with religious devotion. They wore the distinctive white mantle with a black cross, symbolizing their dual commitment to purity and warfare. Knight brothers were required to take vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, living under strict religious discipline while maintaining their military duties. Below the knights were the sergeant brothers, who came from non-noble backgrounds but still served as combatants. These men performed vital military roles, often serving as light cavalry or infantry. While they didn't enjoy the same privileges as the Knight brothers, sergeant brothers were essential to the Order's military effectiveness, providing the necessary manpower for both defensive and offensive operations. The priest brothers formed another crucial component of the Order's hierarchy. These ordained clergy members were responsible for the spiritual welfare of the brotherhood, conducting religious services, hearing confessions, and maintaining the Order's religious character. They also often served as administrators and scribes, managing the Order's extensive documentation and diplomatic correspondence. At the base of the hierarchy were the serving brothers, who included craftsmen, farmers, and various skilled workers. These individuals maintained the Order's castles and estates, ensuring the smooth operation of daily life. Their roles ranged from blacksmiths forging weapons and armor to cooks preparing meals for the Brotherhood. Daily life in Teutonic castles followed a strict schedule that balanced religious observances with military training and administrative duties. The day began before dawn with prayers, followed by Mass. Knight brothers would spend several hours training in arms, practicing military maneuvers, and maintaining their equipment. Religious services punctuated the day, with brothers gathering for prayers at prescribed hours following the monastic tradition. The Order maintained strict rules of conduct that governed every aspect of life. Members were required to eat in silence while listening to religious readings in the refectory. Personal possessions were limited, and all property was held in common. Rules governed everything from the brothers' clothing to their sleeping arrangements, with specific regulations about the quality and type of bedding allowed. The administration of conquered territories was a complex task that occupied much of the Order's daily activities. Castles served as administrative centers from which the Order managed its vast estates. Officials kept detailed records of agricultural production, tax collection, and military resources. The Order developed sophisticated systems for managing their territories, including the establishment of towns, the organization of trade, and the administration of justice. Life in the Order's territories also impacted the local population. The Order introduced German law and customs to their domains, establishing new towns and encouraging German settlement. Local peasants worked the Order's lands under a feudal system, while merchants in Order-founded towns conducted trade under the Order's protection. The Order's castles were not just military fortifications but complex communities that housed various activities. Workshops produced everything from weapons to religious manuscripts. Storehouses kept supplies for both peaceful times and sieges. The castle's layout reflected the Order's dual nature, with spaces dedicated to both military and religious functions. Training was a crucial part of daily life. New members underwent a rigorous period of instruction in both religious duties and military skills. Experienced knights taught combat techniques, while priest brothers provided religious education. This comprehensive training system ensured the Order maintained its high standards and distinctive character. Today, the Teutonic Order continues to exist, though transformed into a purely religious and charitable institution. This evolution from a military religious order to a modern charitable organization reflects broader changes in European society while maintaining connections to its historical roots through service to others, albeit in a very different form. The Order's social structure and daily life provide fascinating insights into medieval society's ability to combine religious devotion with military organization, creating institutions that shaped European history for centuries. Their legacy continues to influence our understanding of medieval religious and military organizations. So, Did you know that the Teutonic Knights still exist today, but as a charitable order? Tell us in the comments what surprised you most about this transformation. The history of the Teutonic Order is marked by several decisive moments that transformed it from a modest hospital brotherhood into one of medieval Europe's most powerful institutions, and ultimately led to its decline as a military power. These events shaped not only the Order's destiny but also the political landscape of Northern Europe. The Order's foundation in Acre in 1190 occurred during the Third Crusade, initially as a field hospital established by merchants from Bremen and Lübeck to care for Crusaders. The transformation from a charitable organization into a military order came in 1198 when it was militarized following the models of the Templars and Hospitallers. This early period in the Holy Land established the Order's reputation and helped develop its organizational structure, though it remained relatively minor compared to other crusading orders. The arrival in Prussia in 1230 marked perhaps the most significant turning point in the Order's history. Following the invitation from Duke Conrad of Masovia, who sought help against pagan Prussian raids, the Order began what would become a decades-long conquest of Prussia. This movement northward, authorized by the Golden Bull of Rimini, 1226, gave the Order papal and imperial permission to create its own sovereign state. The subsequent Prussian Crusade transformed the Order from a landless military brotherhood into a territorial power. The Battle of Lake Peipus in 1242, also known as the Battle on the Ice, represented a crucial check to the Order's eastern expansion. Led by Alexander Nevsky, Russian forces defeated the Knights on the frozen lake, effectively halting their advance into Orthodox Russian territories. This battle became legendary, immortalized in Russian national consciousness and later depicted in Sergei Eisenstein's famous film. The defeat marked the eastern limits of Catholic expansion and the Order's influence. The conquest of Prussia, occurring over several decades, involved not just military campaigns but also the establishment of a sophisticated state infrastructure. The Order built impressive castles, founded cities, and developed a complex administrative system. They encouraged German settlement, leading to significant demographic and cultural changes in the region. This period represented the height of the Order's power and influence. However, the Order's success contained the seeds of future conflicts. As their state grew stronger, tensions with neighbors, particularly Poland and Lithuania, intensified. The conversion of Lithuania to Christianity in 1386 and its union with Poland removed the Order's primary justification for crusading activities in the region. This led to increasing conflicts with the Polish-Lithuanian Union, culminating in the decisive Battle of Grunwald in 1410. The Battle of Grunwald, also known as Tannenberg, represents the most dramatic turning point in the Order's history. On July 15, 1410, a combined Polish-Lithuanian army inflicted a crushing defeat on the Order's forces. The Grand Master Ulrich von Jungingen and most of the Order's leadership were killed in battle. This devastating loss marked the beginning of the Order's decline as a military power. While the Order survived the immediate aftermath, it never fully recovered its former strength and prestige. The post-Grunwald period saw a gradual decline in the Order's power and influence. The Second Peace of Thorn, 1466, forced the Order to become a Polish vassal and surrender significant territories. This period of decline continued until 1525, when Grand Master Albert of Brandenburg converted to Lutheranism and transformed the Order's Prussian territories into the secular Duchy of Prussia, becoming its first duke. These events and transformations profoundly impacted Northern European history. The Order's activities led to the Germanization of Prussia, the establishment of numerous cities that still exist today, and the creation of administrative and military innovations that influenced medieval state-building. Their conflicts with Poland-Lithuania helped shape the political geography of Eastern Europe for centuries to come. The Order's experience illustrates how success can lead to transformation and ultimately decline. Their evolution from a charitable hospital brotherhood to a powerful territorial state, and finally to their current status as a charitable religious institution, reflects the complex interplay of religious ideals, political ambition, and historical circumstances that characterized medieval Europe. The legacy of these pivotal events continues to influence regional politics and national identities in the Baltic region. Cities founded by the Order, castles they built, and administrative systems they developed left an indelible mark on European history, while their eventual decline serves as a reminder of how even the most powerful institutions can be transformed by changing circumstances and defeat. The Teutonic Order's influence on Northern European culture extends far beyond their military conquests, leaving an indelible mark on architecture, urban development, technology, and the broader cultural landscape of the Baltic region. Their legacy continues to shape the cultural identity of numerous cities and regions to this day. The Order's architectural heritage stands as its most visible cultural contribution, with the Marienburg Castle, Malbork, representing the pinnacle of medieval military architecture. Completed in the early 14th century, Marienburg became the world's largest brick castle and served as the Order's headquarters. This magnificent structure combines defensive functionality with artistic sophistication, featuring innovative architectural solutions like central heating systems, intricate vaulted ceilings, and advanced sanitation facilities. Today, Malbork Castle remains the largest brick building in Europe and stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Throughout the Baltic region, the Order constructed a network of fortified castles that transformed the landscape. These fortifications followed a distinctive architectural style that combined German building techniques with local materials and conditions. The characteristic red brick architecture, known as Brick Gothic, became a defining feature of the region. These castles served multiple functions as military strongholds, administrative centers, monasteries, and symbols of the Order's power. The Order's urban planning and development had a profound impact on the region. They founded numerous cities that continue to thrive today, including Königsberg, now Kaliningrad, Memel, Klaipėda, and Elbing, Elbląg. These cities were planned according to German law, Magdeburg rights, featuring structured street layouts, central market squares, and defensive walls. The Order's urban planning principles introduced a new concept of civic organization to the Baltic region. Technological transfer played a crucial role in the Order's cultural influence. They introduced advanced German agricultural techniques, including the heavy plow and three-field rotation system, which significantly improved farming efficiency in the region. The Order also brought new crafting techniques, particularly in metallurgy and construction, leading to the development of local industries and guilds. The intellectual life within the Order's territories was equally significant. Their castles housed libraries containing religious texts, chronicles, and administrative documents. The Order's scribes and chroniclers produced important historical records, including the Chronicle of Peter von Duisburg, which provides valuable insights into medieval Baltic history. They also maintained diplomatic correspondence with various European powers, contributing to the development of medieval diplomatic practices. The cultural exchange between German and Slavic populations under the Order's rule created a unique cultural synthesis. While the Order promoted German settlement and culture, they couldn't completely suppress local traditions and practices. This resulted in a distinctive Baltic German culture that persisted for centuries, characterized by a blend of German, Polish, Lithuanian, and Prussian elements. The Order's influence on religious architecture was particularly notable. They built numerous churches and cathedrals, introducing Gothic architecture to the region. These religious buildings often incorporated local building traditions while maintaining Western European architectural principles, creating a distinctive regional style. Educational initiatives were also part of the Order's cultural impact. They established schools in their territories, primarily to train clergy and administrators. These educational institutions helped spread literacy and Latin learning throughout the Baltic region, contributing to its integration into Western European intellectual traditions. The Order's administrative practices introduced new concepts of governance and record-keeping to the region. They developed sophisticated systems for managing their territories, including detailed land surveys, tax records, and legal codes. This administrative legacy influenced the development of state institutions in the Baltic region. Trade and economic development flourished under the Order's rule. They established trading networks connecting their territories with the Hanseatic League, promoting economic growth and cultural exchange. The Order cities became important commercial centers, attracting merchants from across Europe and facilitating the exchange of goods and ideas. The linguistic impact of the Order's presence continues to be felt today. German linguistic influence on Baltic languages, particularly in areas of administration, law, and urban life, reflects the deep cultural changes brought about by their rule. Many place names and technical terms in regional languages have German origins dating back to the Order's period. The artistic legacy of the Order includes not only architecture but also religious art, manuscript illumination, and decorative arts. The Order's churches and castles were adorned with frescoes, sculptures, and other artworks that combined religious themes with local artistic traditions. This rich cultural and intellectual heritage demonstrates how the Teutonic Order's influence extended far beyond military conquests. Their role in shaping the cultural landscape of Northern Europe remains visible in architecture, urban planning, and cultural traditions that continue to define the region centuries after the Order's military power declined. The Teutonic Order's position in medieval Europe was characterized by a complex web of diplomatic relationships, economic partnerships, and cultural exchanges that significantly shaped both the Order and the broader Baltic region. Their interactions with various powers demonstrated sophisticated diplomacy and strategic thinking that went far beyond military matters. The Order's relationship with the Holy Roman Empire was fundamental to its existence and success. The Golden Bull of Rimini, 1226, from Emperor Frederick II granted the Order sovereign rights over Prussia, providing crucial legal legitimacy to their territorial expansion. This imperial connection remained vital throughout their history, with the Order's Grand Masters holding status as princes of the empire. This relationship provided political protection and legitimacy while also ensuring a steady flow of German nobles into the Order's ranks. The papacy played a pivotal role in the Order's activities. Papal support legitimized their crusading missions and granted them extraordinary privileges, including exemption from local ecclesiastical authority. Various papal bulls authorized their campaigns against pagans, making them a key instrument of papal policy in Northern Europe. This relationship was carefully maintained through regular diplomatic missions to Rome and substantial financial contributions to papal coffers. Relations with northern kingdoms varied significantly over time. Initial cooperation with Poland, particularly under Conrad of Masovia, gave way to increasing tension as the Order's power grew. The relationship with Denmark involved both cooperation and competition for control of strategic Baltic territories. Swedish relations were generally positive, as both powers shared interests in containing Russian expansion and maintaining Baltic trade routes. The Order's partnership with the Hanseatic League proved particularly significant for economic development. Their territories became crucial links in Hanseatic trade networks, with cities like Danzig, Gdansk, joining the League. This relationship facilitated economic growth, urban development, and cultural exchange throughout the Baltic region. The Germanization of the Baltic region was one of the Order's most lasting influences. They promoted German settlement through various incentives, established German law in their cities, and made German the administrative language. This process transformed the demographic and cultural landscape of Prussia and parts of Livonia, creating a distinct Baltic German culture that persisted for centuries. At its peak, the Order wielded a transformative influence that extended deep into the social and economic landscape of the region. Their commercial innovations laid the groundwork for a thriving economy, and they did so by creating a meticulously organized economic system. This system revolved around the establishment of trading cities and ports, each strategically positioned to serve as vibrant centers of commerce and interaction. These cities were more than simple trade hubs. They were magnets for merchants, artisans, and entrepreneurs, bustling with the energy of constant exchange. To maintain fairness in trade and foster trust among merchants, the Order introduced standardized weights and measures, a crucial step in promoting consistent and just transactions. The creation of a regulated monetary system further unified their economic activities, providing the region with a currency that held value across territories, thus facilitating smoother trade and commerce. To support this economic engine, the Order invested heavily in building transportation infrastructure, connecting cities, towns, and rural areas through well-maintained roads and waterways. This network of infrastructure was essential for the efficient movement of goods and people, reducing travel time and expanding the reach of trade networks. Furthermore, the Order organized regular markets and seasonal fairs, which became grand events that attracted local and foreign traders alike. These gatherings weren't just economic events, they were cultural experiences, blending regional customs with foreign influences, turning the marketplaces into centers of vibrant cultural exchange that further enriched the region's identity. Beyond economic developments, the Order implemented a profound religious transformation, deeply rooted in their beliefs but respectful of local traditions. Conversion was only the beginning of their religious impact, as they established a comprehensive ecclesiastical structure that was as much about governance as it was about faith. They oversaw the construction of parish churches and towering cathedrals, each one a monumental display of devotion and architectural mastery. These buildings weren't just places of worship, they became community pillars, where gatherings, ceremonies, and festivals took place, strengthening social bonds. The Order also organized dioceses and parishes to ensure that religious governance was structured, accessible, and relevant to the local population. In addition, they prioritized religious education, creating a system that trained priests and educated the youth, ensuring that each generation understood the teachings and traditions of the Church. In a unique approach, the Order allowed for the integration of certain local religious customs, adapting and blending them with Catholic practices to create a faith experience that was both familiar and transformative. This harmonious blend not only fostered acceptance but also created a rich spiritual tapestry that left a lasting legacy on the region's cultural identity. The Order's influence was further amplified by its extensive international connections, bringing a wave of new ideas and practices that transformed the Baltic region. In terms of military technology, the Order introduced advanced siege warfare tactics, employing techniques that made them formidable in defense and conquest. Castle-building innovations followed, with imposing fortresses rising along critical points, embodying not only defense but the Order's sheer dominance. Additionally, they adopted new weapon and armor styles that improved their combat efficiency, giving them a technological edge over their adversaries. Their influence also spread into administrative practices. They developed sophisticated record-keeping systems, ensuring that every aspect of governance was meticulously documented. Legal codes were introduced, formalizing laws and justice procedures, which helped maintain order and clarify governance structures. Furthermore, they refined tax collection methods, creating an efficient system that sustained their rule while fostering economic stability within the region. Cultural exchange was perhaps one of the most profound international influences brought by the Order. Western European architectural styles found their way into local buildings, leaving behind stunning structures that embodied the beauty and sophistication of the era. German literary and artistic traditions began to spread, inspiring local artists and craftsmen to adopt new styles and techniques. The Order's influence also led to the development of multicultural urban centers where various ethnicities coexisted, blending traditions and languages in a melting pot of culture and innovation. The Order's economic activities laid the foundation for robust, long-lasting trade networks that connected the region to broader European markets. By integrating with existing European trading systems, they positioned the Baltic region as a vital link in the continent's economic web. Banking and credit practices flourished under the Order's rule, offering financial services that facilitated trade and provided merchants with much-needed capital for their ventures. They established regular trade routes and created commercial regulations and standards that fostered an environment of trust and reliability, essential for the sustained growth of any economic network. Politically, the Order's influence shaped the development of the region's governance structures. They established a system of territorial administration that brought order to newly conquered lands, dividing regions into manageable units and establishing local authorities to oversee them. Diplomatic protocols were formalized, allowing the Order to engage with neighboring powers and secure alliances, while legal frameworks provided a basis for governance that endured long after the Order's decline. State bureaucracies took shape, with officials responsible for implementing policies and overseeing daily governance, laying the groundwork for organized political structures. Culturally, the Order played a crucial role in integrating diverse traditions and fostering a sense of shared identity. They promoted education and literacy, opening schools and supporting scholarly pursuits, which empowered local populations and encouraged intellectual growth. Artistic development thrived under their patronage, with support for painters, sculptors, and musicians whose work enriched the cultural landscape. The Order encouraged cultural exchange, bringing foreign influences into the region and allowing local traditions to flourish within a broader context. Written records and chronicles were preserved, capturing the history, values, and stories of the people, ensuring that their legacy would be remembered for generations to come. The Order's external interactions produced lasting effects that reshaped the region's future. Politically, they established enduring territorial boundaries and administrative divisions that would persist for centuries. They promoted the development of urban centers, turning small towns into bustling cities that became centers of commerce, governance, and culture. Socially, the Order influenced the formation of new social hierarchies and an urban middle class that played a vital role in regional economic growth. The integration of different ethnic groups contributed to a rich, diverse society that balanced local customs with foreign influences. Economically, the Order established trade routes and commercial centers that sustained economic growth, creating networks that endured well beyond their rule. Their interactions and influences created a unique synthesis of Western European and Baltic elements that continued to shape the region long after the Order's political power declined. This legacy remains visible in the architecture, urban planning, legal systems, and cultural traditions of the Baltic region today. The Order's role as a mediator between Western Europe and the Baltic region facilitated significant cultural and economic exchanges that transformed Northern Europe. Their sophisticated network of relationships with various powers demonstrates how medieval religious military orders could function as complex political and cultural institutions, not merely as military organizations. The Teutonic Order's legacy resonates profoundly through the centuries, fundamentally shaping the political, cultural, and social landscape of Northern Europe. Their influence extends far beyond their medieval military campaigns, leaving an enduring impact that continues to shape regional identities and international relations in the modern era. The Order's most significant historical impact lies in the formation of Prussia. Through their systematic colonization and administration of the Baltic regions, they laid the groundwork for what would eventually become the Prussian state. Their efficient administrative systems, military organization, and territorial management became the foundation upon which later Prussian political and military traditions were built. This legacy ultimately contributed to the emergence of Prussia as a dominant European power and played a crucial role in German unification. The development of northeastern Europe owes much to the Order's activities. Their urban planning initiatives resulted in the establishment of numerous cities that remain important regional centers today. The Order introduced advanced agricultural techniques, established trading networks, and implemented sophisticated legal systems that modernized the region. Their architectural legacy, particularly their distinctive brick Gothic style, continues to define the cultural landscape of many Baltic cities. The Order's influence on regional identity is complex and sometimes contentious. In some areas, particularly in modern Poland and Lithuania, the Order's activities are remembered as a period of foreign domination and cultural suppression. However, their presence also contributed to the development of distinct regional identities through the introduction of new administrative, legal, and cultural practices. This dual legacy continues to influence discussions about national and regional identity in the Baltic states. The Teutonic Order's experience provides valuable insights into the nature of military religious orders and their role in medieval society. Their evolution from a charitable organization to a powerful territorial state, and eventually back to a charitable institution, illustrates the complex relationship between religious ideals and political power. This transformation raises important questions about the role of religious institutions in state building and the potential consequences of mixing spiritual and temporal authority. The relationship between religion and politics, as exemplified by the Order's history, remains relevant to contemporary discussions about the role of religion in public life. Their experience demonstrates how religious legitimacy can be both a source of authority and a constraint on political action. The Order's eventual secularization in Prussia also provides an interesting historical perspective on the process of separation between church and state. In the modern Baltic region, the Order's cultural heritage is preserved in numerous castles, churches, and urban centers. These architectural monuments not only attract tourists but also serve as important symbols of regional history and identity. The Order's administrative and legal innovations continue to influence modern institutional structures, while their role in establishing trading networks contributed to patterns of commerce that persist to this day. The Order's legacy also provides important lessons about the nature of cultural exchange and transformation. While their methods of conversion and conquest were often brutal, they also facilitated significant cultural exchange between Western Europe and the Baltic region. This process of cultural interaction and adaptation offers insights into contemporary discussions about cultural change and integration. Modern scholarship continues to examine the Order's history for insights into state formation, religious authority, and cultural transformation. Their experience provides valuable perspectives on current issues such as the relationship between religious and secular authority, the role of international organizations in territorial disputes, and the challenges of managing multicultural societies. The transformation of the Teutonic Order from a powerful military force to today's charitable institution reflects broader changes in European society and provides an interesting case study in institutional adaptation. Their current focus on humanitarian work and healthcare represents a return to their original charitable mission, demonstrating how historical institutions can evolve to remain relevant in changing times. Looking forward, the Order's legacy continues to influence discussions about European identity, regional cooperation, and the role of historical memory in contemporary politics. Their story reminds us that the institutions and conflicts of the medieval period have shaped modern Europe in profound and lasting ways, while also providing valuable lessons for understanding contemporary challenges in international relations and cultural interaction. Their legacy stands as a testament to how historical institutions can shape regions and societies for centuries after their political power has waned, reminding us that the impact of major historical actors often extends far beyond their immediate time and place. The Teutonic Order's experience continues to offer valuable insights for understanding the complex interplay of religion, politics, and culture in both historical and contemporary contexts. If you were fascinated by this epic story of the Teutonic Knights, don't forget to subscribe to Medieval Chronicles for more content about medieval military orders. Like and share with friends who also love medieval history.